Hello, folks. Welcome back to the Collegiate Call of Duty Invitational presented by Army ROTC. My name is McCormiel, alongside myself is Proper Cast. We've got the semifinals coming up right now. CU Ravens, Esports at Purdue. Proper, it's going to be a great one. It's one that we haven't actually been able to see, not even in the playoffs of the CCL, but first time we're going to be seeing both of these teams. And God, you look so great with that shaved face.
Hey, man, what can I say? Sometimes the aerodynamics on the side of the head can only go so far, so I just have to go with the whole entire chop. So I'm also interested in this matchup because, yeah, Purdue, they got cut a little bit short when it comes down to their playoff run. We won't go into, certain specifics, but even still, to be able to see them come back through in this invitational tournament versus a top contender like Carleton Ravens as well, this has the makings to be a barn burner of a
Absolutely. Well, I mean, overall, specifically for the side of Purdue, a 13-1 record in the regular season, not being able to show that inside of the playoffs definitely hurt them a little bit, I'm sure. So coming out inside of this invitational, you really are looking at Purdue to be that wild card that we really don't know much about in terms of how they're going to fare against some of these top teams, specifically going further into this tournament. Hell, they beat the Ravens here, then you're looking at a potential to maybe face off against Ottawa Black inside of a grand finals if they're able to take that top series in that semifinal. So I mean, Proper, realistically speaking here, is Purdue one of those teams that is almost that wild card that you have to watch out for to really make a deep run and potentially steal something from Ottawa Black?
I mean, it's definitely on the cards, right? I think it's going to be a good test versus Carleton Ravens to be able to see how they might be able to fare versus a very fast pace and I guess a more fleshed out corner of a team like Ottawa Black. But Carleton Ravens, again, coming in towards today, they're not going to be playing with Hawk. Of course, they still have Andy Lurid 47, whatever name that they're deciding to utilize today on their account. That's who you're going to end up seeing. And I think that's going to be, again, big test that Purdue have to get through as you take a look at Carleton Ravens in their roster today. Bedardo, Lurid is that 47 player I was talking about. Struki is here as well as Team Thief. So again, you almost have to think that there's a lot of pressure on the shoulders for Lurid to be able to lead this team, not only as an IGL, as that leader for the team, to be able to talk about the rotations, talk about the hits and search and destroy, to be able to command those stacks on control, but to be that slayer as well. We saw Bedardo have a great playoff run. With this Ravens roster, you have to think that that's going to be the next in line to help out Andy.
Sure, absolutely. And I couldn't really agree more because with Hawk being out, we saw inside of the playoffs, it was kind of that tandem duo that really pushed them forward to get to where they did finish. Where basically the losers finals that they got to at the very, very end in order to almost get back to the grand final in that regard. So although they technically end up losing to Ottawa Black in that regard inside of the playoffs, that dynamic duo between those two really was the main reason that they were able to push forward, and that's not discrediting anybody else on that roster. But looking at the Esports at Purdue roster, you're going to see a couple of familiar names, but VT2, Tragic, Stone, and Benji, all these guys have been fantastic throughout the regular season inside of the CCL, and obviously thus far here throughout the tournament for the Invitational as they've gotten to the semifinals, and we'll look to see if they can maybe steal a map number one here against the Ravens.
It goes even further than that. Than map number one, the hardpoint and the respawns. For sure that Purdue, even through the Modern Warfare year, when we started seeing a lot of these players really make a profile for themselves, so the respawn was fine. But the biggest question mark coming through for Purdue was how was that search and destroy? And towards in stage number 2 of CCL regular seasons when they were facing off against top cut teams, we really got to see that push and challenge ever more so to be able to see how strengthy their search and destroy really is. And you got to think that when you're looking at the overall map set that is above our heads right now, when you're thinking about the raid search and destroy and the express search destroy all the way at the end, this could be where Purdue could be seeing their win conditions, if you will. Maybe try to take one of those respawns like you were talking about. Maybe not necessarily that Garrison hardpoint, but maybe it could come through on that control. But maybe squeak by to get through towards those search and destroys, which could be more beneficial before the Garrison hardpoint as we're breaking this map down. I mean, again, the respawns, you got to think, might just favor that of the Carleton Ravens for the pace that we ended up seeing. But all these statistics, all of this knowledge that we have of Carleton Ravens are with Hawk in play. So what is that backline going to look like when you don't have that main AR being able to help out that front line of Lurid 47? Could be that opportunity that Purdue, like you talked about, could encroach upon to take this first hardpoint.
Yeah, well, speaking specifically about Esports Purdue, one of the big things that they had going for them inside of the regular season in CCL was their respawn, specifically their hardpoint. They only lost one hardpoint throughout the entirety of the regular season, a 19-1 record, which is phenomenal. That rivals the likes of not only Ottawa Black, but also Concord Maroon, and the teams that you expected to be at the very top and were when we got to the end of the playoffs. So with Esports Purdue being able to be that hardpoint team, that respawn team that is going to come out, play lights out, and to your point again, aggressive throughout the entirety of the game, that's going to be that mainstay map number 1 that they can go ahead and take. And then going into S&D, it's going to be very difficult to keep up that momentum against Carleton. But when you're lacking a player, when you're lacking somebody who is a foundation of your roster, and you have a team that's all together and being able to once again compete at the highest level, because they've been practicing still throughout the technical off season of the Collegiate Call of Duty season, you're looking at an Esports Purdue roster that not only is going to have a great chance at map number 1, but could steal off of CU Ravens and force them down to an 0-1 situation.
Yeah, and again, just to, I don't want to sound like a broken record over here, but, the conversation has to continuously be there. Again, no Hawk in play. You got to think not only as the IGL role, but also that slaying beneficiary that you have with Hawk. We've been seeing it working in tandem with 47 quite well through multiple seasons of CCL and through a lot of different collegiate tournaments as well. So what's that going to ultimately look like versus a Purdue University that is going to be able to sit there and showcase their strengths like you were talking about coming through the regular season? 19-1 overall for Hardpoint. Garrison was pretty well practiced. 3-0 for them there. But on Carleton Ravens, they did play quite often through the regular season as well. 7-1 for them through CCL regular season. Their only loss was by way of a forfeit, funny enough. And then they came back and won that series at the end of it all. But, so take that as you will as we load in towards Garrison. Hardpoint, first map on board here with winter semifinals. McCorn Mill starting off so far, I guess, on the favorite side might just be Carleton. Berdado's in a great spot to try to challenge top green.
Looking around. Number 8, Team Thief, going to try and fly on out, but here comes Bedardo through the top into green. We'll be able to find that first kill, but as we're looking over towards those P2 rotations, the most important thing that you have to take a look at here is the side of Esports Purdue now ready and set up. In middle map, that's a huge loss of a gunfight there to Team Thief, because that allows the CU Ravens to get an in over towards the next point. And as we keep taking a look at Esports Purdue here, it's a good hole at the beginning, but the CU Ravens storm back in, they take control of the point.
I mean, the entire scuffle over towards P1, you can see that Esports and Purdue were able to walk away with it quite convincingly. Tragic is 9-1, so you can only imagine potential streaks to be on the board for them through their first life. That is your AR player for Esports and Purdue. Yep, fully streaked out, by the way, in the first hard point. Gonna go ahead and call in the cruise missile. Yeah, let's go ahead and break inside this hill.
That's not quite nice. Starting off the game already having streaks, 12-1. Will finally, I mean, you find his demise early on, but now as you push back in towards the point, you die for the second time. But realistically speaking, only having a 35-31 lead at this point with a player that's been able to at least be outstanding in that killing department, maybe not the brightest shining light for the side of Purdue, and obviously that can continue to extend forward. But using the streak right off the rip there, maybe you're confident you get another one over the course of the game, but Proper, do you like that streak usage so early on?
Well, I would have liked it better if they were able to actually work their way inside the hill for a little bit of time, but you can see what's inevitably happening on the screen as well. That Carleton Ravens, not only were they able to hold on towards the scrap ton of P2, but they're actually winning the rotation over towards New, over towards that generator, and 47 zoning past caution. Oh no, a definitive no, McCormick. I'm not a big fan of the cruise missile at this current juncture of time.
So get ready to set up for point number 3 and hold it down continuously. 62 Ravens, 36 for the side of Purdue. And now you're going to see Team Thief once again try to work in towards the back. And that second streak already coming through. This time it allows them to get in towards the front, but with Team Thief being able to storm back. Struki finding another one in tow with Tragic and 3 going down for Purdue. You lock on to P3. You get the majority of the time once again, including the scraps, forcing Purdue once again to rotate. And Proper, you waste 2 things of utility already early on in the game. Now you're forced with 15 seconds left to just have to give that up.
Yeah, I mean, that's absolutely right. And you can see Carleton, again, much like from 2 to 3, already threading the rotation over towards New. Thief would have been loving to find that kill onto Tragic top green. They were on 4 straight. And they're that player that's stepping in for Hawk, by the way. 8-5, really keeping on pace with 47 at 9-7. Answering a lot of questions as far as what they can offer as Struki just comes from the side. I mean, it will be Esports of Purdue that are inside of the P4 hill for the time being. Stone in possession of top catwalk. Has a good lay of the land. Can't find at least any of those kills that are laid out in front of them. Carleton are going to be able to at least break in from those P3 spawns.
Bridge and top green control were yours initially, but you lose a couple of gunfights. Now you're forced to break back through middle map, but Benji's going to be leading the troops forward as he's able to find one. Trades come through, now it's 3 down, and Benji, who let him in, is going to be the last one here. Still staying alive for his life right now, but with the contest coming through, players pinching him from every angle, he's going to fall swiftly in tow. So, with Esports Purdue now having themselves an opportunity to break back in, the CU Ravens, once again, are just going to be thinking about rotations, and they've shown that they can break every single hill.
And look, that's not the time that you want that spawn flip to come through for Purdue. They're all spawning essentially over towards P3, over by that shipment tent. Now in Carleton Ravens, who got those P2 spawns more or less, are going to have that opportunity to get up in top green, get on that catwalk. 47's already zoning away in dark. There's a free kill. How about a second? Absolutely, we'll take that one to go. Now you got to read the spawns as Esports Purdue spawned in essentially for P5.
Benji, can you lead him in once again? 6 and 11, not much to show. Tragic really just encompassing the entirety of what the slaying department could look like for Purdue. Unfortunately, the rest of the teammates aren't really able to be at that caliber thus far. Slow start, sure. Maybe an opportunity to turn it around later on in the game, absolutely. But as you're looking in towards this point now, 30 seconds left. The contest still there. CU Ravens from the front are going to be able to break it in, and now the spawn trap can come in proper. This is where things start to get out of hand, especially if you keep them all the way back there in that back left side and rotate over towards P1.
Yeah, right. It can turn into a nasty spawn trap the second that you can read these spawns, and it only benefacting Carleton Ravens, who are at 150 and counting all the way up. Just about a 100-point lead going in towards the second set of hills. This is a nasty spawn trap that you're just hoping to be able to rip a couple of these players off from your spawn. Benji found an opportunity to actually work their way out from Cobble, be forced for a team kill from Stone, but at least you can work your way out from the spawn and look towards the second set of hills.
100-point lead and counting. Back on the second set of rotations, 47 going to get some shots in from behind. Finally, Purdue looks to have an in towards point number 1. Struki will be the last one to fall. So Purdue, this is basically where they got the lion's share of time that they've gotten throughout the entirety of this game was point number 1 and into the rotations for P2. So if there's any time that's going to be looking up for them, you'd assume it'd be now. 25 seconds left. They've got left side of the map in their control, and now it's just going to be about getting these last couple of kills in middle map, flushing out the Ravens from point 1, and making sure you're set up in top green is sturdy, strong, and capable.
47 gonna take this opportunity now to hit out from top green. We'll find Benji again, has now killed them, I believe, 3 times in a row. As far as lives are concerned, you'll get Benji at 10 and 15, 7 and 16 for Stone. Those are your SMGs. Esports at Purdue. Tragic needs some help. Quite literally can't say it enough. At 24 and 13, the slaying, the frontline pressure just is not there from Esports Purdue. You're mostly just trying to go tit for tat versus 47. The backline for Carleton Ravens are just giving them the opportunity, but Esports Purdue will find themselves in at P2. Remember that they utilize all of the streaks from P1. And will love a solid back 40 seconds here on P2 to have hopes of coming back into this game.
Finally, a little light showing through. Maybe it's because the outside hard point and they're getting a little bit of vitamin D, but more importantly, as you look back in towards the hill, you still got Purdue holding on strong. 25 seconds left. This was a great time for them not only to get a full 60 points, but really start to claw their way back into the game. And even though it's still going to be about a 50-point deficit, if they're able to break into P3, it'd be huge. But proper, this is the conversation we got to go back to now. You would have loved to have those streaks, saving them in your back pocket for a P3 break. This time, it kind of worked out the last time, but now you need it the most.
Essentially going to be a 3v3 back here for the Gens. Yeah, Shriek would have been great to be able to break inside these spawns, but you got to recognize it's a 3v3, and you got to be able to push on forward, but the cross angle is just too good for Carleton. 47 finds another challenge inside of Cobble as well, and one side of Tools, I should say, excuse me, and Carleton, again, inside of P3, they deal with that 3v3 quite effectively, and like we talked about, maybe a Shriek would have been able to help you out, but when it comes down to the gun skill and the disparity that Esports or Purdue are facing, it is nothing short of an uphill battle.
P4, 30 seconds left until that next hill pops. CU Ravens, they're going to get well on their way to getting to that victory here on this hard point. They aren't going to be able to win it necessarily off of P3, but on the rotation to P4 with the breaks that they've been able to produce, it should be over fairly soon. With about 15 seconds left on this point, they're going to be looking at about the 235-point mark as we get over towards P4. That'll leave 15 seconds for them to win. And Esports Purdue, if you haven't really shown any firepower or fight aside from the first 2 hard points, you're really not going to be able to show much for the rest of this game.
Well, it's mostly just been tragic. 27 and 17. And for the slow pace that Purdue has been, again, rolling with, Carleton Ravens have been able to absolutely flourish. Nice little flurry of kills, however. Come 2 for 2. So far, so good for Esports Purdue inside of P4, trying to zone it away. Good communication. We'll find Bernardo inside of Dark. 3-7 right for there for the trade. Esports Purdue, I mean, they're sitting here looking at numbers, but Shruki comes in, they find 2, still looking to close it out on 4.
Yeah, and I mean, if you had any doubt that 47 was going to be able to produce, then you might be calling yourself a madman at this point, and I think everybody else will be calling you a madman as well. Looking back towards the point, couple more shots. Team Thief will find the last kill. That's going to do it for map number 1. The Ravens will take it, go up 1-0 in the series, and it's a very dominant win, over 100 points here out of Purdue.
Yeah, 103-point lead, or 103-point win, I should say, on the Garrison hardpoint for Carleton. And again, it's that slow pace that I was alluding to towards the very end there for Purdue to try to come back into it, but it's their slow pace, again, that Carleton were able to absolutely flourish in. How many times we're going to see 47 just getting aggressive up front, while the rest of the teammates, Bernardo and Team Thief included, just watching over them, not necessarily always needed some help with the SMG presence, not when you're going at least 4 to at least finding 3 at minimum, it seems there for 47. That's the front line that you need, and that's the front line that Purdue were essentially missing.
Yeah, well, I mean, slaying numbers were there for CU. For the side of Purdue, you got to come out stronger inside of the search and destroy, and we'll be able to see whether they can or not after a quick break, folks. The Collegiate Call of Duty Invitational presented by Army ROTC. We'll be back after a short break. Hey there, folks. Welcome back to the Collegiate Call of Duty Invitational presented by Army ROTC. Once again, my name is McCormiel. Alongside myself is Proper Casts. We've got the S&D coming up on Raid after a hard point that we kind of talked a lot of good about Purdue. Now let's talk a little bit good about the Carleton Ravens from what we saw from them lacking Hawk, bringing in Team Thief, and still being able to produce the same results we saw in the playoffs.
Yeah, and again, the biggest consideration for me was how was Team Thief going to be able to hang in that back line? The slaying numbers from Hawk was absolutely impressive throughout the regular season, and you saw it through playoffs as well. And that Lurid, the big narrative going into this is that Lurid was going to need some help. Typically, that was going to be Hawk, but Team Thief was playing the role wonderfully. Of course, I'm sitting here in comms with our producer Benji and McCormiel. I don't have the opportunity to listen to the comms, but just watching them play throughout that hard point, it seemed like they were able to showcase their small talk effectively while also working throughout the map, working those power positions, working for those rotations. And you have to think that might be able to work their way inside of this raid search and destroy, because when Thief did showcase their talents through the regular season playing with Carleton back in CCL, search and destroy was their go-ahead. I mean, they're still sitting at a 1.19 overall S&D KD throughout the regular season, and I think that could only benefit for Carleton Ravens, who are 2-2 on the raid search and destroy game mode combo through the regular season, but Purdue, who looked heavily under practice, definitely going to have to showcase some of those core fundamentals.
Yeah, well, good news for Purdue. You're 4-2 on raid compared to the 2-2 of Carleton, but going into a raid search and destroy, what we're going to be looking for is aggression, getting control of middle map early on, and we'll see if that holds true.
The offense for Esports Purdue just looking for the B push. 47's up here aggressively. They are not going to get out with their life, not cleanly.
Tragic looking around. Benji's going to be able to find the first blood, though, and his 47 falls. The rest of the CU Ravens are just going to have to play a bit more passive here. As you push up in towards top laundry, Tragic's going to be able to find his first here in the round. That's 2 down for the side of the Ravens, and the clearance over towards B. Plants on the right side of the bomb, but it really doesn't matter which place you put it. So 1 versus 4. Bernardo, last one alive.
Yeah, Bernardo, that lone player looking over towards the pool side. He was the lifeguard, man. He's going to come over here and try to save some lives from the backside of laundry. He's going to get stun checked. Over inside of jungle, it's just a ticking time bomb. The challenge won't be able to win the first. And that was just a great push out of Purdue. Off rip, just coming up through driveway. Have some showcasings inside of Art. Put an AR in there, but it's Tragic's play. Again, leading their team as far as slaying with a Crick 6 as well. Gets aggressive in top laundry, pushes it out. It really makes it a clear presence for that that B site, rather. Esports Purdue are able to take that first round by sheer aggression.
Flawless, too. 4 up, 4 down. 2-2 to Benji and Tragic. The AR aggression from Tragic really did help out, and credited to your point there, Proper, getting up in towards top laundry, being able to clear out the back like he was able to do so. And of course, Benji's first blood there in the round with the aggressive 74U up into the ring was great, but can they do the same thing here on the defensive side with the aggression? Struki now pushing up in towards the ring. The nade's going to at least spot out a couple, so information for the side of Purdue. The Ravens do technically have a little bit of control here over towards B, but it's marginal at that. Top bedroom control for Stone. Not going to just play his life and wait for the push from the aggressive CU Ravens.
And Tragic's going to actually take down 47 first blood, so not Shruki. He's left out on an island, and that island is top laundry. Would love to be able to take down Stone. Going to take just a minor reprieve, at least for Carleton. You know that VT's over inside open staircase as well, so now what do? Stone's just going to drop down. That's bomb dropped on the cliff.
Tragic's going to find another one. Vidardo up top in the laundry isn't going to be able to find anything but his demise. Purdue 2 rounds in a row, and once again, it's just that great aggression that we see, whether it be on offense or defense. And although that one was through middle map at that point in terms of where the aggression came from, they were able to rotate back over towards laundry, and it was just pick after pick, seemingly every single time, and you only lose 1 player there as well.
Yeah, and you can tell what Carleton were mostly looking for, right? Immediate ring control, get a player inside dividers, maybe 47 can push forward over by that staircase back tiles, maybe find that first blood. They get blooded. times in a row from a very aggressive angle by that B site. Have to see a little bit more of surgical play from Carleton rather than just running out players. Nope, just scratch that entirely. 3 players deep towards the middle of the map. But Esports Purdue, they're back to that first round offense. Presence inside of red, but they're not flooding over by ring.
You know, I don't want to jinx Tragic here, but looking for back-to-back games in maps number 1 and 2 where he's able to get streaks off the rip, working on 4, looking for 3 more would get him those streaks eventually. But with those players in towards middle map, Stone's going to find the first blood. Tragic will fall, and I hate to say it, but I did jinx him. And as 47 stays alive, a 2 versus 3, bomb down a middle map. They can clear it out pretty easily, but it's going to be a decision of whether you want to go to A or B.
Bombs dropped in such a precarious position as well in this 2v3. 47's actually going to take this as an opportunity, flank all the way through. Thief will lose their life over by tiles, or inside the dividers, excuse me. 47 completed that flank, will find Stone. 30 seconds remaining in this 2v1 for 47, who has sights on the bomb. This comes down to Purdue to make a play.
47, you've been great all year long. You're able to get that first kill. You know they're going to try and chase out towards the Zig. Bomb will be picked up, though. Did he hear the audio cue? I believe he did. He can at least check for the bomb, and no, he won't go over towards B. 47 can check, comes around the corner. Will you be able to find BT2? Plays a head glitch for his life, plays it for the round. Can you find the kill? Around the corner, shots are coming through. He can still get the bomb down, but won't be able to. 47, run away, play your life, escape out of there while you can. Round win to the CU Ravens and a 1v2 clutch from Mr. 47.
And again, yeah, a lot of veteran moves got showcased here, right? You were stuck in what was a numbers advantage for Carleton Ravens, and 47 is out there just staring at top condo for what seemed like an eternity over by Talos. So they took that as an opportunity to flank all the way through. They found that trade as soon as they lost Team Thief over by dividers through Zig. The bomb was dropped in that very specific position, and 47 was just able to finesse, was able to check, found the first kill, and was able to keep their life so responsibly with all the challenge as well. Finally able to put themselves on the board. Here comes some of that aggression through dividers. 47 will lead the charge.
You don't want to get a player like 47 any sort of an opportunity to grow and expand his reach on the map, and you do that right off the rip. Now you've got middle map control for the offensive side. And as you push over towards ring, Benji on the blue van will get ripped off by Bedardo, and now you got a 4 versus 2 and the bomb down with 45 seconds left.
VT trying to keep their life. Well, actually kept 47 mid-mantle. VT on 2 knows that Bedardo is just around the corner, but get timing from the player up top, Laundry. A couple of footsteps just up the stone. And 1v2, their position has been more than sought out. Actually wins the first. It's doable.
Well, you got a player that finds 2, so makes your life incredibly easier in a 1 versus 2, but now you got to look for where the player's going to come from. Through kitchen, over towards the water steps potentially. Some bad timing might be the demise of his life. Turns around, somehow escapes. Now Team Thief can just play back, play passive. He's got the angle onto the bomb. Stone just going to hop on, hop around, but it won't matter. The CU Ravens take their second round in a row. They've won an offense and a defense, pairing it at the same as Purdue.
And of course, we know with the X-ray that that bomb probably could have been hopped on, but there is just no way. You don't know where Team Thief potentially could be located at. The last known whereabouts for Thief was inside of top Laundry. There's just no way you're going to hop on that bomb. No way that you can check both in all angles that is over by that B site. But what a great push from Carleton. Answers back with 2 rounds of their own in offense and in defense. Respectfully push through dividers. Quite effective to find that first blood inside a kitchen. 3 players deep for Carleton over by this B site defensively. Purdue has hit this both offenses, taking a little bit more of a resolved push now. Still presence inside of red in the middle of the map.
Aggressive for Stone to keep challenging over towards the water side, but it's 47 who once again finds the first blood. Has 2 consecutive first bloods in the last 2 rounds. Tragic with the AR over towards B. Won't find anything necessarily from the side of the Ravens. They're playing this towards middle map and over by water, despite the bomb being in middle map, but the second kill comes off the board. You've got a 4 versus 2 now. You can play this a bit more passive, or you can play aggressive as long as you play together. So might be able to trade out once again. Well, Tragic goes ahead and finds 2, so proper, it's anybody's game now at this point.
V2 still got the bomb, is just trying to finesse, keep their life, was eating a couple of shots. That was from Thief over by Kitchen. Bedardo will be playing an open staircase, and yeah, Spidey senses just might be tingly. Don't gives up the angle. Goes back to check it. Tragic up in top window. Will be on the balcony. Takes down Bedardo. Outs up the Thief in a 1v2. Has the angle. Can they barely? No, VT just goes prone in time. He's going to go challenge it. No! The ankle shots are going to be good. Get away with your life, Thief.
Oh my god.
Won't be able to do it.
Tragic All 4 kills in the round, comes away not only with the ace, but the 2 versus 4 clutch in a round that they should have been absolutely hammer-whacked in. I mean, proper, when you look at this round, in a 4 versus 2, you've got full mid-map control. All you've got to do is find one trade on a Tragic over by the pillars. You're not able to do so. Perhaps an overzealous push comes through?
Yeah, I would say so, for sure. I mean, there comes a certain point in time where you have to check everybody's lethals and tacticals in certain position. Just know that when you're on that defensive side of things, you're not the one that has to make the play. Funny enough, that's a nice little fundamental of search and destroy. You can put a pen in that and say proper taught you. But here comes Carlton again for the speed push on the offense. Not going through dividers this time. Struki with the bomb is over by ring. Now they will have some help, but will you be able to find first blood? It's going to be 47 that does it.
Benji and Struki had each other in their line of sight for about 30 seconds apiece. And still weren't able to find either of them. Benji finally comes through, is able to find one, tries to get a little aggressive for the second. Not sure if I love that, but really didn't have much of a choice. 47 in middle map will hit the Semtex, won't be able to find his own trade. So a 2 versus 2, Tragic on 5, 2 more looking for streaks.
Bernardo's going to go ahead and lay this bomb down, and Whelp Stone, Tragic, yeah, they know it all too well. Tragic now on 7 straight, has the artillery. It will be allowed to disarm this sucker as well, put them just inches away from that cruise missile. I mean, just quite literally, more than likely an assist, if not a bomb plan away. Let's see if that's how Purdue's going to be playing it back. We have gone 2 rounds back and forth between these two teams. Offense, defense alike for going back and forth. But I got to tell you, this was such a wise challenge from Tragic. They knew that they had 47 just one shot. By process of elimination, finding the other one over by Bamboo. Just challenge out from dividers along with Stone. But most importantly, just blowing up Carlton Ravens push. Even though 47 found first blood, that was all the way over by bedroom. Second, they tried to push through open staircase. Tragic had them locked down. Probably didn't have to aggressively push for that angle. Wanted to help out their teammates over by B. Tragic now at 11-2. Remember, just 1 assist, potentially, if not a bomb plan away. Won't be carrying that rock. That's how close the art of work hurts.
I love the call going over towards A with the streaks being able to be used eventually as well. Don't even have to use them in this round. You can still save them, but the other team knows that they're looming in the background, and so is Tragic up from above, earns the cruise missile, but more importantly, puts the situation in a 4 versus 2 with the bomb going down, 45 seconds left, the 2 versus 4. Can you do it? Can you give them a taste of their own medicine? Purdue in the post-plant setup.
Well, you just don't have to do anything. The A site got taken so quickly. The lone defender over by Pool just can't lose their life that quickly. I believe was Thief inside of Pool. And then you see a handful of players, if not the player inside a bedroom. You got to get back towards that long chair and just hope that there are teammates inside the cutout wall, if not near money window, to help you get out. But the setup was just so strong, but you didn't even have to put in the sleeper hold over by the A site like you talked about. You got full streaks. You don't even have to be there at the site anymore. Just get the bomb planted, just have Tragic, just put their feet up in top bedroom, maybe put up a couple of nice COD League matches and just enjoy the show. It's about to be an explosive bombardment, but Esports Purdue now with 3 rounds in a row, 12-2 for Tragic on an 8 spree. Look to close it out on defense.
If you expected the side of Purdue to stay quiet for long, you are sadly mistaken. As they go ahead and find their first blood here in the round, the CU Ravens finally have a little bit of a glance of hope, I guess you could say, here for the first time in 3 consecutive rounds. Nastruki finds a second. You were in this situation before in a 4 versus 2 on the defensive side. Now you're on offense. You can either choose to go to A or B. They've got both players spread out relatively far across the map, and that's not what you want to see. Tragic gets number 9 in a row, gets the first kill, makes it a 3 versus 2, and it's even easier for the side of Purdue to work now.
He knows that everybody's trapped inside a kitchen, but they're not going to be able to read that Carlton's actually flanking right behind them, just veering their footsteps. There's Bernardo, 74U is going to end that spree from Tragic. Now it's up to Stone in a 1v3. Still streaks left to play with the round left to play soon after. Barring any sort of heroics from Stone, now in a 1v2 as Struki will lay the bomb down.
Both players from the Ravens close together. They actually didn't see the player in cutout, so they're just going to be looking over towards water steps in middle. 47 actually might be making the play here. Can you make this flank happen? Even if you don't get the shots initially and your teammate falls, you can be there for the trade, but fortunately enough, he's there to get it before even the disastrous happens. 3-5, still down by multiple rounds here, and it's going to be a desperate attempt to cling on for life in the S&D, but at the end of the day, it's possible.
Look, if we're following the script here, we went 2 for 2 off the rip, and we should go 3 for 3, right? We should essentially send this to a round 11. Carlton, you showed up to dress rehearsal last night. I saw you guys there. Took all the muffins. We'll have to see. And it's going to be a defensive side for Carlton to try to put themselves in a seat, potentially put it to a round 11. And Purdue going with the day-old strategy of getting the bomb in spawn. Might as well just find the kills first, right?
That's what you'd like to see, but Tragic. He's got different plans. Still has the streaks to use. 14 and 3. The rest of the teammates just have 6 kills together, making 12. Basically, he's got one less kill than everybody else on the team combined, proper.
I mean, that's just absurd. Shruki Bernardo left alive in a 2v3 artillery strike. The ping plus the strike will be called in. Find Shruki, Bernardo. Oh, Bernardo, what are you going to be able to do? Sees Tragic top red. That's a position more than thrown away. 30 seconds remaining. Yep, might as well do it with the Christmas tree. What were you doing? Purdue search and destroy. Looking pretty darn good here. We'll win it 6-3.
I just say we're going to steal one more time here, but look how good the effect for the explosion of the cruise missile looks on the map. I mean,
Michael Bay film over there.
Honestly, it is like almost like a Transformers remake, but either way, proper. I mean, you take a look at the side of Purdue. I said beforehand, they're not going to stay quiet for long, and they show that in the S&D, a 6-3 victory. The Ravens had some shining moments inside of the S&D that we can talk about a little bit, but really now we talked about how good Purdue could have been in map number 1. We talk about how great they are in map number 2. Now you're going back to a respawn where the Ravens seemingly have the control as we get ready for checkmate control.
Yep, and a big swing map mode here for these two teams going in towards the checkmate control overall. Not a whole lot of reservation being showcased, not a whole lot of creativity from Carlton, but at least control is going to be a game mode. Yes, there are respawns re-enabled for U47, so you can make those ludicrous plays throughout a multitude of streets, but it is tricky, though, because checkmate is more than open of a map compared to, say, raid control, to where submachine gun might find a little bit more presence. You got to really be focusing on the ARs, and well, who does that shine more than anybody as far as all 8 players inside this lobby? Look at Tragic. Again, they were able to find full streaks off the opening rip off of Garrison, which, again, to no avail. They lost that map by 103 points as you see above McCormiel's head. But you got to see some of that lights out, that explosive play that a main AR like Tragic's caliber might be able to bring inside this collegiate matchup there on that raid search and destroy. They're able to showcase that same sort of strength going in towards a checkmate, which is made for a land of an AR of a presence like Tragic's. Carlton's got some work cut out for them.
I mean, really, the mainstay for 47, you're going to see him mostly in the top lane, then trying to flank around either through emergencies or maybe getting on those wings and being able to jump off and challenge down over towards B. Maybe make a play happen up close and personal, trying to get through middle map over towards A. But that's on the defensive side. On the offensive side, proper, it's going to be much more difficult to get something going, especially if your ARs aren't going to be able to counteract the likes of Tragic inside of a map like Checkmate. So as we look forward to this map, more or less, Purdue with a 2-1 Checkmate control record over the course of the regular season inside of the CCL. Can you continue to be a relatively decent Checkmate team? I mean, over the course of the year, again, like I said before, a 13-1 record with a 41-10 map count. Those losses sure have come from not only S&D, but or control as well. More so in the S&Ds, though, than control. So you're a good respawn team overall. I know I hit hard on that at that point, the hard point earlier on, and maybe the statistics didn't back me up there, but in a control setting, I think they might do a little bit more justice.
We'll have to be able to see. I mean, for Purdue through the regular season, like we were talking about, 2-1 overall. They lost 3-0 versus the Miami Redhawks. So keep a pin in that cap for the time being. But on the opposite side, like we were talking about for Carleton, those 2 losses that they did lose were against some top cut teams. Rutgers University Black, that is not necessarily a team that you can bat an eyelash at, and Sheridan. Lost to Sheridan 3-0 on this map mode combo, and they lost that series 3-1. And you have to almost think that a lot of eyes would be on Team Thief and Bernardo. We'll have to see what the weapon setups might be looking at. But yeah, when it comes down to plane presence, 447 might be able to flourish.
Pinstripe off the rip, both teams with 2 players taken off the board. A little bit of B control there underneath the plane, but they should be able to go ahead and at least take it off the board for a bit. But as Stone finds 2 in Bedardo and 47, they can push over towards A, or they can play it towards B. It looks like they're going to have a full spread across the map, but look for Team Thief with the AR over towards A, really to put down the pressure, make sure that they can't get past that 50% point in the map.
It always comes down to these opening breakoffs. You saw Carleton were at least able to find the opening kills. It's only going to be able to benefit them that much more for the defensive team. Team Thief has snuck by inside of orange. Tragic will spot them out. Can't keep their life for too long, but you can see what that does for the offensive team. Again, no immediate map presence. Ben is inside of the plane. We'll be challenged. We'll take down Struki. So at least you have this presence for the time being. But what can Esports of Purdue do with it?
Pushing through. Medardo falls. 3 versus 3. Now a 3 versus 2 back over towards these points. You're going to try and have one player up and towards top plane. Guess who it is? It's Tragic. Maybe not having the greatest start, but I mean, comparatively to the hard point in the S&D, we wouldn't expect him to, get streaks off the rip once again. But as Tragic finds yet another kill, VT2 will pair for another. You can play in tandem A and B, but now you've really got to put pressure on one of the sites, if not both of them. Because time's running out. You got 5 seconds left.
Time is, in fact, running out. That's the win condition for the defensive side for Carleton Ravens. But stopping that clock just about 5 seconds was Purdue for the time being. Struki now presence over towards the A lane. Will be double challenged. 47 top plane for the trade. Tragic will get the consolation kill at the end. But again, Carleton will win that opening defense. And we stress it as analysts, commentators, and hell, even players too. That opening breakoff means everything for both sides, especially for checkmate control, because what do you get with that? Plane control, map presence, you get so many different angles to be able to look at all these avenues for the offensive team just to work their way out of spawn. You saw Team Thief, although not finding the immediate value, not finding any spawn kills, that is the exact route you want for the defensive team to find themselves in from that opening breakoff. For an offensive team, love to be able to win that and show presence over towards that plane and that A street, depending on what your hit might be looking at. Purdue had a really good shot.
Yep, they did.
At least halfway through that, having presence in the middle of the plane, but could not capitalize on it. See what Carleton could do on their offense.
47 and co, instead of opting to go straight in towards top plane, they'll go down over towards the B site. As 47 goes ahead and hops on the point, shots onto Tragic over towards that left side aren't going to be there, but the shots on the VT2, you can count them up and you can bet they're there. Zone B, controlled at least for the time being, but now they're going to start to play A and B together, and this is where the side of offense can start to spawn trap the defense. You've got Team Thief pushed up with the AR once again on the south side of the map, though, this time, and everybody from Esports Purdue, they're spawning in the top left corner of the map, trying to push back over towards A at first.
And Thief's going to get cut down on that south lane. Bernardo will actually give up that wing. This is what Purdue are sending 2 players inside the plane to try to deal with this as well. So no plane control for the time being. It will be Tragic that is able to stand tall there, but Carleton are still showing presence over towards the A zone. You're able to put yourself in certain spots where that top wing is not going to be able to find those certain angles. So Tragic took that opportunity to push on forward. That may not have been the player that you were hoping coming off of the spot as 47 turns and burns on them. A zone will be fully secure for Carleton as they look to sequence a couple of zones. First tick secure to B.
A lot of time to work with. A lot of lives to work with. Esports Purdue, the same thing cannot be said. Time is working against you, lives are working against you, and sure, you clear him off of B for the time being, but they're coming back in a flurry. VT2, that's a huge kill to put him back in towards spawn, and now with 3 going down, looking for number 4 in Struki. This is where you can start to push them into their spawn, equalize the lives a little bit, but more importantly, give your team map control. They only need 1 more tick at B, so 1 good 4 down from the side of the Ravens will give them everything that they want and more, especially a potential 2-0 lead.
Yeah, but you gotta be careful here because it's 1 break off that Carleton Ravens need, and it's inside their spawn. You got a minute 30 left to play. Lives aren't too far gone. You just gotta deal with these players coming off of the spawn. Slow it down, Carleton. Deal with these players first. Bernardo will deal with Ben. That's over 5 P2. Bernardo, though, will get traded all the way out. The trade's gotta come through, and these kills, you gotta start flying because the second that you find these kills, middle of the map, it's gotta be secured. Struki would love to find that trade on the VT2, and not for the time being.
Here they come. Struki, first one pushing forward. You're onto the beef site. Purdue knows this. Starting to push back now. They've got the audio cues. They've got the cues of the teammates. But more importantly, where are the comms? Where are you putting your attention to? Where are you focusing on the map? And it's Tragic who finds the first. But now you've got 2 players pushed up onto B. You've got to fly forward into the lines of sight of all the players from the Ravens that are pre-aiming this lane. Now as it slows down for a bit of time, 47 looking for a flank. He's able to find one down below. 7 versus 5. 2 lives. Now you have the advantage when you were down by about 7 earlier on. 45 seconds left in the round.
1 respawn remaining for both of these teams. 47, you gotta keep your life. We'll throw Semtex and now clear their cross to try to get underneath the plane. Just 1 player here. It's gonna be VT2. And we'll find 1 kill, but Struki will find a trade over towards Stone. 3v4 we go, and there's presence for Carleton on the B zone. Can you get here in time? The stack too good. Carleton win back-to-back rounds. Most importantly, they win an offense on checkmate.
And that right there, folks, That is what separates great teams from the teams that are near that skill level, just not quite there yet. You've got a life deficit after you were up by 7. You bring it back over towards that B zone. You're able to stack that point with 3 to 4 players. Once you get everybody on that point, it's all downhill from there, especially for the defensive team trying to push on back. And although we talk about how hard B can be to take over proper, one of the big things about that site is that if the offensive team can get on it, there's a lot of angles that do favor them, especially if the offensive or the defensive side can't get back fast enough.
It's got to be a reverse sweep here for Purdue if they want to be able to take the swing map mode. And easier said than done. Their offense opening break was not clean. They barely even showed presence over towards the zone. For 30 seconds had hit towards the game clock, but nice opening break off, 2-for-1 trade. Tragic sees an opportunity to put themselves on the A zone early.
Up towards the stop. Stone finds one, jumps down, finds a second, keeps his life for the time being. And now they can just play back over towards this B zone. VT2 is able to find that first pick on the site. And now it's the reverse for the side of the Ravens. Now you're having to fight back over towards B. You've got 2 players over towards A as well, trying to make some noise. And although Bedardo is able to find one, you've got a couple players pushing around the corner. And now you see Tragic from behind. VT2's there. Stone turns and the team shots are in. 47 looking to make some noise, but can't find anything. That's going to be the B zone captured in a very, very nice chance for the side of Esports Purdue to make something happen in this round, especially with the mid-map control that they possess.
Streaky went cross-eyed there, almost got an opportunity for 2 kills. Benji hitting the flank, has 3 players in front of him, but 47 will find the trade. Luckily enough for Esports Purdue, they have numbers just respawning close towards P2. They're able to showcase their presence here on the H Street. 1 minute 57 left, but look at those lives.
Long range shots, Tragic is there, Team Thief looking to come back. You've got half of Zone A progress complete. 47 up and towards the top lane. We'll find the last shots on the VT2. So remaining dormant for now is the A zone, but you've got a 9 life advantage. You're pushing back over towards the zone. You're still 2 stacking it on the point now, and you want to win those initial couple of kills, but you've got time to work with. It's on your side if you do lose these gunfights, and so is the life advantage. So around nowhere near over yet for the side of Purdue. They've got a lot of chances to make this one work.
Shruki, lying in wait, almost able to find a second. VT2 will find the trade. And we're down to 1 minute 35, 16v9. Carleton Ravens have no choice, but 47 has to slow things up and just find some favorable kills. Got 2 players defending towards the H Street, but no one read VT2 on the flank.
2 down. 2 left over towards the site. That's going to be number 3, but can Team Thief go ahead and or at least bring the reinforcements quick enough with the rest of the team? The answer, at least for right now, is no. And as Struki looks down the line of sight, Stone's going to be on the point. Here comes the contest. Around the corner, trades come through. Long shots over the top. Tragic's not able to find one, but does there on the Team Thief. Struki with another trade. It's pinstripe kill feeds, but proper. We got to take a look at the lives now for the side of CU Ravens. No lives left for them, and technically no respawns is really what I mean. But with a 10-3 advantage, you can just play the lives here. You don't even have to worry about the zone.
That's right. Yeah, you can still show presence on towards the zone. And it's going to force both Bernardo and 47 to give up their position. Shruki, 1v8. Oh, it would be impressive, but Tom just puts him in the dirt. No, it's actually the cross angle from the bottom plane. Well, Purdue are going to be able to produce. I know, low-hanging fruit. At least an offensive round win to answer back for Carleton on that previous offensive round win. And again, you can tell by the tenor of my voice, that is not easy to do, to answer back for an offense. You are down 2 rounds on checkmate control, but still Purdue are able to do it. And Vanish Tom and Tragic, again, that AR lineup played a pivotal role in that success.
Now, what type of produce do they kind of produce, right? You know, is it low-hanging fruit? Is it, you know, maybe a couple apples, maybe a peach there too? I mean, we are in a different country, so I mean, do you know what kind of a plain hanger would produce here proper? Anything on the outside?
I wouldn't imagine that there would be enriched soil around this area, considering you're just a hangar. There's a lot of gunfights happening in this area, McCord Mill, so I wouldn't necessarily say that, you know, it would be enriched soil to be able to find a lot of good livestock.
Okay. Well, that makes sense. So, maybe not a temperate zone, but also the soil not there right now. The side of Purdue trying to at least grow 1 more round out of the ground and take it to a round of number 5. Can the Ravens, though, go ahead and shut things down here on the offensive side and shut down the hopes that Purdue has to at least maybe go up and put things at around number 5? It's going to be difficult, but with a 3-life disparity as it stands, 47 in the gang trying to break out of their spawns. The spawn trap is here. The spawn trap is there. Oh my goodness, graphic content, folks. I have to remind you, it is enabled on the stream.
My goodness. He just turns and snaps. So you have 47s at 19 and 21, but that's just an impressive gunfight win. Bernardo's going to show presence on the B zone. It's going to stop the clock. Semtex will claim their life. No, Blackjack going to be able to keep their life for the time being. 2 kills actually come their way. As soon as Vanish Tom turns around the corner, they will immediately find that trade. 30 seconds remaining, and Carlton just did not win a convincing gunfight.
Well, you got onto A, but it's only 1 player, and you've got 3 players charging back to the point. So what are you going to be able to do here if you're 47? Shots come in from behind. You turn around, you're able to find the first one there onto Benji. You outplay him completely, get the little bit of movement to jazz up the entirety of the map. And now you've got 1 tick over towards A. Proper, if this does go to a round number 5, now we got to start talking about the ticks, and I don't even want to get into the mathematics of that, because I can't even do 2 plus 3 when it comes down to the zone. So either way, we're going to see one of these teams on the defensive side, one of the teams on the offensive side when it gets to a round number 5. But as they've got A control, they're looking to put an extra minute on this clock, and 47 does it all by his lonesome.
Yeah, I mean, 47's just been up there on the A Street for the past 4 kills, 23 and 21. They're going to secure the extra 60 seconds. Yeah, all right, just going to be able to do it all, I suppose. And they had some help over by the yellow card container, whatever it may be. Carlton Ravens, they are no way out of this quite yet. The B zone, very tricky to take. They don't have any ticks of progress to speak of. But 47, Bordardo, they find themselves an opportunity. And 47's going to call in the artillery. At least
hasn't called in just yet. Gets the information. Now you know where the players are going to be coming from the side of Purdue. Struki, Team Thief, everybody can start preeming over towards the right because you got 3 players that you called out from beforehand. But hey, 47, why not get the cruise missile to pair along with the artillery? 9-4, no lives remaining for Purdue. Stone is there to find 1, so I mean, I guess that's a bit of a break now, but you still have streaks to worry about, Proper. Do you use them here? I would at least think so. I mean, there's an opportunity you lose a 4 versus 8, but it's not every day of the week that you kind of see that happen.
And it forced Stone to use our artillery strike in response as well. Thief will find Vanish Tom that's over by the A site. 3 versus 7. Almost have to think this is just a ticking time bomb for Carlton Ravens' success. Stone will find 2 versus 5. It's the sub lineup of Ben and Stone versus all of Carlton.
What can you do?
Let's go.
Can you stun us all? Force a round number 5. You got shots over the top, but you now know where these players are. Bernardo loses 1. Now no lives for either side. 2 versus 4. Now a 1 versus 4. Stone, you're the last one there. Semtex is everybody pushing left and right angles, all being covered up top. Team Thief down below. 47. Map number 3. A 3-1 victory for the Carlton Ravens. They'll go up 2-1 in the series at series point and hope to get to the winners finals with a win in the heart.
And Bernardo on this map, it doesn't even matter the mode. Bernardo just always has a map and a half when they are playing on Checkmate. Again, because it is the AR playground, and Bernardo was that AR player that was playing through the regular season continuously with Hawk, who you got to think some of that trickle down must have ended up coming through some of the angles that they got to be able to cover. Maybe Hawk was playing at a certain position, and now you have Thief just trying to at least flex around some of the positions that at least was being held previously by Bernardo through the regular season. But it works. Regardless of whatever is happening, it ends up working. For an offensive round and defense, especially for Carlton to be able to recognize when they were finding those kills, what did it mean for them? It meant map control first, and then focusing on those zones. From there on forward, it was just crossfire on top of crossfire. And although Purdue, they got by with a very clean offensive round win, it just was not at least up to par to be able to go the distance for a round to round.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, folks, 2 respawns thus far gone to the side of the Ravens. We go to another respawn on Moscow Hardpoint, but that'll be after a quick break. The Collegiate Call of Duty Invitational presented by Army ROTC. We'll be back just after this. Welcome back, guys. Collegiate Call of Duty Invitational presented by Army ROTC here. And, well, Moscow Hardpoint's on the docket. My name is McCormiel. Alongside myself is Proper Casts. We didn't see you Ravens take 2 respawns here, looking for number 3 here inside of the Best of 5 series, but more importantly, the chance to move on to that illustrious winners finals to face on who I believe is going to be Ottawa Black.
Well, looking back at the bracket, I believe that you are right. Ottawa Black were able to beat Illini Orange, so they'll be waiting patiently for the winners of this match between Purdue and Carlton Ravens. But much like you said, Moscow Hardpoint is on the docket, and while we are here throughout the regular season, Carlton Ravens have not played this map mode combo. Purdue University 3-0 regular season. We'll have to see if they can have some bright spots. Tragic drops some impressive numbers in that loss on Garrison Hardpoint, hoping for some strong showcasings here.
47 SMG Aggressor around the corner is able to find one, slides back to safety with the rest of his teammates trying to look over the top. VT2 around the right side corner can't find him, but the movement surely will be able to. As Benji now climbs back from the gold side of the map, the side of the CU Ravens, go ahead and have the P2 spawns, and Team Thief and the rest of the gang, they can just hang out here towards the back, over towards the BS&D site, hold these players from Esports Purdue in towards middle map, and over by the Eskies. That's what you love to see if you're a Ravens fan. You got P2 locked down.
Yeah, and if you go back to that Garrison hardpoint, Carleton Ravens were out-rotating Purdue continuously through every single hill, it seemed, and they will be there again holding on towards P2, which can quite literally be one of the biggest money hills here on Moscow hardpoint. Thief, Bordardo, they will find two. Vanish Tom is going to try to find a trade. It's only Tragic that is able to find the first. 45 seconds remaining. You're only staring maybe at one good shot for Purdue to try to break into two.
Struki looking for a couple players to come through that off his side, but nobody's going to be at least willing to try and make that trek all the way through the right side of the map. It's going to be a push for middle map, and this is going to be the best opportunity a team has to break in towards a point. And as Tragic finds the kill there on a Team Thief, somehow VT2 is able to stay alive. They'll break in towards the front, but this is going to allow the side of the CU Ravens to break across the map and maybe set up for the next kill. However, you see the mini-map, players 1 and 2 spawn close, 4 does as well. You've got everybody over on that side of the map, and although you're going to get 15 seconds from this point and basically lock down a full 50 seconds, it's going to be difficult to break on next towards point number 3.
Hard hill to break. Just hoping at least find a couple players on the rotation. And Thief has just slipped the net. You'll find Benji in the back for free. You also have 47 pushing past Bank as well. And there's going to be a couple of spawns that come all the way through. Now, Tragic will find 47, but there's going to be numbers here with Esports Purdue losing one number spawning out.
Through the front, though, doesn't really matter much for the side of Purdue as they find 2 kills. Now in the back, you've got to be careful of all 3 players not making their push through. And also, proper, now you're going to look for a potential push play in a pinch coming through here from Team Thief spawning over towards the Eskies. Now, as you look at Purdue, they're across the map. So CU Ravens, they're going to get a good amount of time from this. They're going to get a good chunk of these back spawns. They can also play this here, especially for point number 4 as well, as we start to rotate towards the street. And although Purdue are technically already set up there, it's the same thing that we saw in map number 1. The breaks from the Ravens have been phenomenal.
Tom, off screen, does find one on towards Struki. That's on the backside of Library. And they're going to get help from Tragic. Again, off screen, going over inside of Bank. That is going to help out the rotation. It's going to keep Carleton trapped over inside of P3 in this very tight first set of rotations for Hill. So now Purdue looking to zone away. The Gold Alley, they got presence inside of P4. They got to read this hit from Carleton in the back.
Pushing up to the street, VT2, Stone, both find a couple of kills now through the front. Stone will fall, but that's 3 down for the side of the CU Ravens. They're going to try and push back from the opposite side now over towards Globe, but some great shots from Tragic. Once again, you can't say much better than that. I mean, every single time that he's had the AR in his hands, every single map, he's been able to really not only outslay the opponent, but be the rock that his team needs. And as they go ahead and lock down, at least preliminarily, the scrap time for point number 4, it is going to be the side of Esports Purdue looking to rotate back towards middle map and set up for P2 as well.
Yeah, so when we're at the all said and done for the first set of hills, nothing short of the usual, I would say, for Moscow Hardpoint. Nice little challenge. He will, of course, have some help by that bus to fight for the back 10 of the 4th hill. We'll push Carleton Ravens just nearly over 100 points. Nope! It's fine. People lose their life. So 96-73, and towards the second set of hills we will go. And again, one of the most hotly contested maps throughout every single hill, it seems, for Moscow Hardpoint. We'll find ourselves at a pretty dead-even game, but Purdue, like you talked about there, Alex, were able to fight for the rotation early, set themselves up inside cutout wall, and Metro. You got Tom over by Globe.
Esports Purdue, good news is if you do lose this hardpoint, your series lives are not on the line in terms of the overall tournament. There is a loser's bracket that you can go ahead and find your way back through, but it's going to be much harder than getting to the winners finals and then being able to go down to losers finals immediately after the fact. However, though, with Tragic finding 3 in a row, looking for number 4 potentially, over towards the back, we see the P2 spawns come in, bottom PD. One's going to fluke spawn across the map, but it's going to be parallels between the 2 teams, which is going to allow them to set up not only towards bedroom, but create an artificial pinch play that can set up themselves for P2 as well.
Oh, Thief inside. The S&D side is going to eat a couple shots from behind, and Ben is able to find 47. That's over by the boulevards. The rotation is stuffed immediately. P2 will now pop. Purdue will be there with the closer spawns. Vanish Tom on top of the bus in a very awkward challenge versus Bernardo. The Semtex will only flush them out for the Diamante to find the kill. Maybe not enough to break up the spawns. No, Vanish Tom will actually spawn all the way out. The hit through white was absolutely effective. Carleton had broken in.
Another queen break for the Ravens. It's just a common occurring theme every single time, and although Purdue might be able to break through the front, and they eventually do, finally we're starting to see a little life out of the set of Purdue in terms of the breaking department. We've seen it on Ps 3 and 4 in that first set of rotations. Now we see it over towards P2. They held down point number 1 in mid-map, so this is a completely different looking Purdue team than we saw in map number 1. And it's something that I love more than anything else, because we're finally starting to see them show a little bit of life in a respawn, besides maybe the occasional good round or the occasional good break.
And I think the biggest difference that you're looking at is the SMG lineup for Esports Purdue. My biggest walk away from Garrison Hardpoint was that the slang was there, yes, from Tragic, and a little bit with help was there from Tom, but Stone and Benji were almost just a non-benefactor. It really seemed breaking through the front. 47 was the only thing that we could really talk about for Carleton Ravens. Now they are at 12 and 14, but Thief and Bernardo have really been leading the charge. Bernardo at 14 and 9, by the way. But again, you're lacking that SMG presence from 47 and Sturgeon. You try to break through the front continuously, try to fight for these rotations, to rotate over towards 3. Carleton are already being smoked on the backside of Bank. Purdue haven't even flipped the spawns yet, but they're here convincingly.
And somehow they're managing to come down straight through the staircase from SPs, which you rarely see, if ever, from a team that's going to try and break over towards P3. And although you mentioned beforehand the spawns are still there for the Ravens, and they're able to get back for that last 25 seconds, there's going to be no congestion over towards that point from the side of Purdue, except maybe for Stone just trying to cut a couple players off of rotation over towards P4, and maybe Prohibitor can test that last bit of scrap time. So as the kills come through, everybody from the side of Purdue has rotated across the map. You're going to see players number 7 and 6, that's Struki and Bedardo, actually start to be able to push not only over towards the street, but spawn the side of the Ravens in an unfortunate situation, because Purdue has the technical better head glitches.
Yeah, no, I mean, that technicality aside, you're going to have to try to at least rip a couple of these players off of said headies if you're going to try to break in at least from what is considered the front of the globe where Carleton are playing at, but no one's reading Advantage Tom. Yeah, he's got an AR, but he's not afraid to put the flank on inside of Metro. That makes things more potent from the front for Purdue. 37 inside of the doggy door will find one more kill on a Tragic, but they will be snuffed out. Very scrappy P4 Hill game. Carleton would love to keep the scrappy going in towards the second set of hills, given where they're currently playing from. Still 20 seconds to fight for.
Scrappy Hill, scrappy game. The Ravens, they'll get a couple kills down. You'll see 3 in the kill feed immediately, but still Purdue holds on to the hill because of those close bank spawns. So now as we talk about getting back to middle map, we'll start our third set of rotations here on Moscow. Still 2:30 on the game clock, so really that's not something we're going to have to think too much about, at least as we start to progress a little bit forward here over towards point 1. This 47 looks to make the pinch here, looks to make the plays. Benji will be the first to fall, and the CBU Ravens should be able to get back at least to a tie game and maybe push it ahead a little bit before Purdue can break in towards this point.
It just comes down to what Purdue tried to do with P1 being active. Bernardo is having themselves a whale of a game. 25 and 14 now on a 5 spree. Potential to play for streaks while they're soaking up the hardpoint time as well, but that's a cast curse if I've ever said one right there. McCormick Tragic will cut that streak in half. And just as soon as I call for what Purdue are going to try to do to break inside of P2 spawns, they do the right call. They hit through P1. Do not let Carleton walk away with a sufficient amount of time off of P1. 7 will be right there for a couple of trades, but Tragic has slipped the net.
Yeah, Tragic needs to play his life right here. He's got to stay alive in the back and maybe take out player number 6 in the meantime. They've got 3 players pushing up the street. Bedardo has absolutely no clue that they're there, and there he is. Tragic finds the kill in the back, secures P2, and although the Ravens do have a lead here and they eclipse that 200 point inside of the game, it's going to be, I thought BT2 was going to get the kill, but Struki finds it, and that might be the end that the side of the Ravens need to at least get presence over towards the street and getting towards this hardpoint.
47 starting to heat up, 24 and 20 now. You definitely feeding off the vibes potentially from Bernardo and Thief, but not enough to potentially break up these back BD setup. 47 will find one, but the hit from White will be there from Benji. Very scrappy P2 Hill, but of course Purdue are looking to knot things up to be over 200 points as well, but they're trying to at least consistently show presence through White. And it's just such a narrow choke point where you see Bernardo just absolutely feasting Struki's like, here's a bullet or two. Bernardo on another 5 spree, breaks past 31 kills.
You lose one, you get another, and now you have another opportunity for streaks. Comes around the corner, it doesn't matter. You want to pull out the Krig there, you pull out the Diamante instead, and somehow get the kill around the corner. Now you look over for the rotations. You got a 2-on-2 over towards the next hill, a completely parallel spawn for the other players on the reinforcements from either side, and now as the side of the Purdue at least win one kill in the back. This is actually going to spawn out the side of Purdue across the map all the way back over towards P2. And the Ravens, they hold on. They need 30 seconds and can well win on this hard.
It's going to be a break from the front for Purdue. They have no presence in the back, and Carleton are just going to read this, and they are absolutely coming to the dinner table, feasting with cornmeal. What a setup they have here, looking to close it out.
You break in. One last opportunity to stay alive inside of the winner's bracket. One last opportunity to push yourselves to a game number 5 in stone. Can you be the Rock to start the break? You've got 1 kill. You can't find the second. Struki's there with 1. Tragic is there for another. 9 seconds left. Can you force a point number 4 for the side of Purdue? Can you get in towards the hill? No. 47 with 2. Bedardo with 1. Nobody close. The Ravens advance to the winners finals, and they'll face off against Ottawa Black once again in the winners finals, as we saw from the CCL playoffs and the losers finals. Oh, Proper, I'm ready for that match. My body's ready.
Yeah, it's gonna be a tough one, man. I mean, Bernardo and Thief had themselves a game. I'm Bernardo, they find themselves back-to-back 5 sprees, 1 6-3, another 5 spree as well. And again, that's that presence that we were talking about at the top of this matchup here, Alex, that when you're thinking about, you don't have Hawk in there, so you're losing a lot of slaying potential from your AR perspective, and looking at from Esports Purdue with Tragic and Vanish Tom, with what they've been able to showcase from the entirety of the regular season, what we got to see from playoffs, I knew that was going to be a struggle for them. But in the Moscow hardpoint, I was like, man, 47's going to come off that checkmate hardpoint, just angry, just ready for the vibes to come all the way through so they could slay with an SMG. But no, it was Bernardo and Thief just commanding the rotation. Struki was right there to and find themselves a couple of bullets. Yeah, but when it came down to the rotations and the setups and all the breaks in the early going, it was great for Purdue at the start from the SMGs. But once Bernardo, Thief, and 47 started to heat things up, like I said, the vibes just seemed to be absolutely immaculate because they were flying through that map. Breaks, winning gunfights that they had no business doing.
Another map where the ARs dominate. Quite literally. That's all we just saw right there. So now, as we take a look at our bracket here, we not only have the side of Ottawa Black being able to come from the winner's bracket, beating Illini Orange, you have the Ravens who beat the side of Esports Purdue. So now that sends both of those teams to the losers finals. Ottawa Black and the Carleton Ravens, as I mentioned beforehand, will face off in the winners finals. That'll take place tomorrow here on the stream at 2:30 Eastern. But Proper, let's talk about kind of the rest of the bracket that we have to go through. Obviously, you see ASU Maroon, Penn State, CCL Black, Texas State, all in the losers bracket trying to have to push their run now. Every single match for them is going to be one filled with not only emotion, but nerves potentially and setting into the background too. Because now you're not in the winners anymore. One loss and you're going home. And that's unfortunate, but that's the way it works. There's winners, there's losers. And right now, Carleton and Ottawa, they're sitting at top of those winners.
There's winners, there's losers, there's no participation trophies today. Sorry about that. You can take it or leave it. But I mean, even going back and going back to look at the lower bracket, Texas State were able to beat Colorado Boulder. That's impressive.
Yeah.
So now they're waiting for the winner of Long Beach versus St. Clair Saints. That's going to be a barn burner of a matchup. ASU Maroon versus Penn State to go face Illini Orange. It is shark-infested waters down here in the lower bracket. Again, what you think would be the overall go-ahead prize to potentially go face Ottawa Black. Yeah. I mean, it's Carleton Ravens. They got some sauce, but I don't know if they're going to be able to beat that Ottawa Black roster.
No one really thinks that. Look, coming into this tournament, Ottawa Black, they were kind of your favorites, just not only because of the run that they made inside of the playoffs, but they lose to their counterpart in Ottawa Gold inside of the playoffs for the CCL. So with Ottawa Gold not being inside of this invitational and you having only Ottawa Black to go through for every other team, obviously our wild card was kind of Purdue since we hadn't been able to see much of them play. But now them losing to the Ravens, a team that wasn't necessarily able to give Ottawa Black the best run for their money in the playoffs, now you're looking at Carleton to be kind of that last chance to take down Ottawa Black, or we might be seeing a repeat of what we saw in the losers bracket last time where Ottawa Black was just able to run through it, get to the grand finals, but this time they'll start in the winners bracket on the side of the grand finals. So then you're going to best them in 2 best-of-5 series, which if doing it in 1 wasn't enough, you got to do it twice.
It wasn't already tough enough, right? I mean, again, I just think that you're just hoping to keep Bernardo as warm as we just saw them right there. Because, I mean, that sort of slaying that we saw coming through from that checkmate control in towards that Moscow hardpoint, that is everything and more that Hawk was able to bring to the table from regular season into playoffs for Carleton. Sure. 2 different titles now and through a multitude of levels of competition to join the likes of 47. As long as that is there for them, I mean, they might have a little bit of a shot, but the way that Ottawa's been able to showcase their abilities through that facility. I mean, even going back and looking at a couple of those Twitter posts, the vibes were never down. Those
Nope.
guys are hardcore grinders. I mean, this also transcends out of collegiate as well. Looking at and as far as North America challengers to also find a lot of value. That Ottawa Black roster, yes, the favorite on the day, but upsets are always made to be happening.
Absolutely. Well, folks, we've got a very large slate ahead of you still for today and tomorrow as well. But let's just take a look here later on today. We still got 2 more matches here inside of everything that we have to do in the bracket. But more importantly, we've got a little bit of fun for you guys. Registration is now live for the $3,000 prize pool 2 versus 2 gunfight presented by Army ROTC. And it is a collegiate 2 versus 2 gunfight. So let that keep yourselves in mind. But Tournament Alpha registration, April 14th to May 15th. So you got just about a week to go ahead and sign up for that on the Alpha. And then for Bravo, you have until May 22nd to go ahead and sign up for that as well. Match period for Alpha, 15th and 16th. Bravo, May 22nd through the 23rd. And you can register now at those sites below. blizz.ly/duos alpha and blizz.ly/duos bravo. But folks, we're going to set into a quick break, but when we come back, we've got part 1 of 2 semifinals for a little 2v2 gunfight presented by the Army ROTC.